Brilliant. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to this very incredible summer edition of Words Friends. I am your host, Sara Matson, and I'm really thrilled to have incredible writers tonight reading from around the world. Tonight we have readers not only from across the US, but like I mentioned, from around the world. I started this reading series because poetry and writing, it's my passion and my obsession, and being able to connect with different folks is really just the biggest source of inspiration. Actually, a friend and previous guest of this show, Ben Nesbajani, he put in his Instagram story the other day that sharing other people's words is a life passion. And I just really fully identify with that. I feel that in my bones. I love connecting through words. Uh, yeah, so I'm super pumped. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, I just want to use this platform to continue to demand an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, Iran, and Ukraine. Free Palestine, now and forever. Fuck Putin, fuck ICE, fuck Trump, forever. Those are my Fs. So thank you. We poets, we writers, we do this for the love and passion, and in my case, definitely the necessity of writing, which is a really nice way of saying that we do this unpaid. So when you love what you hear tonight, if you're able, please consider supporting these writers by purchasing their books, buying their albums, subscribing to their Substacks, attend their live readings or shows. You can follow them and like and share their stuff on social media, which is a really great free way to get involved, get in conversation with awesome folks. I'm going to be including the links to websites and places where you can get the writers' books tonight, both in the chat and the description of this video, so it will be available. And yeah, I'm really excited. Tonight we're going to be hearing from Lagnajita Mukhopadhyay, Steph Patterson, Amani Warren. Hopefully, Amani's going to be able to join us, where we will find out. Nicole Yurcaba, Kat Ingrid Leeches, Sam Wright Fairbanks. Y'all, this is such a fire lineup. I am really thrilled to be hosting all of you beautiful people. So I would like to jump in with our first writer who's coming in from London, and the time difference is intense, so I really appreciate her being here tonight. Our first reader is Lagnajita Mukhopadhyay. Lagnajita Mukhopadhyay is an Indian-born poet, musician, anthropologist, and is the author of the books This Is Our War, Penmanship Press, Brooklyn 2016, and Everything Is Always Leaving, MC Sarkar and Sons, Kolkata 2019, and poetry album I Don't Know Anyone Here, 2020. She was the first Nashville Youth Poet Laureate, finalist for the first National Youth Poet Laureate, and Pushcart Prize and Best of the Net nominee. Her latest book, Towards a Poetic Memory of Bengal Partition, was out with Natyachinta in December 2023. She is the poet and bassist in the band JAWARI, whose debut album, Road RASA, has propelled them to the Paris Olympics and South by Southwest. With a master's in migration and diaspora at SOAS and a master's in creative writing at Goldsmiths, you can find her work in Poetry Society of America, Tagvverk, and Anthropocene, among others. I'm super thrilled to have Lagnajita joining us tonight. I am so honored that you are tuning in live from London. I first read her amazing work in Discount Guillotine, and I was really struck by the beauty and the cadence of your work. So it's really a joy to have you reading here tonight. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Lagnajita.
Thanks, Sarah. I just want to say, yeah, it's 1:14 in the morning. So this is real poetry hours for me. And also, I just want to say, I get to smoke a cigarette while I read, which never happens at any poetry reading ever. So this is thrilling for me, but I'm a bit I'm a bit scary, but thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And thanks for everyone for being here. I'll just read a few. I'm working on a book about, I lived in a van in the States during the pandemic. Real smoker, real poetry hours for sure. Um, and I have just been obsessively writing about the roads since then. Both in the political sense of migration. I just want to call attention to everything that's going on. Liberation for all occupied people everywhere. This first one's called Identification. At an inn, I am asked for identification. Traveler, let that be my name, the first winter rain. Basha. Say it. When you call me to the back of the room, I search for you in the canyon, consider identification, dictate, document, devil, consider diaspora, visa, downtown, distance. Say I am with her, not she is with me no longer. Say I have forgotten how it sounds in my mouth. Consider to meet someone who has only seen it on the page, a hidden home, detained. How did you meet someone? From Kolkata, asks the border. Say to meet is to name, locked away where you cannot reach it. She introduces me as someone else. I become her, the patrol. After all, consider the traveler or the agent, each a different checkpoint or trial. I search for it in the side mirror, roll up the window with my bare hands again. Say my name. Thank you. This next one is called Land. It's a ghazal poem, which is essentially it's a series of couplets. It ends on the same word. And then you have to do like a signature at the end, which is your name. This is called Land. That sidewalk stretch always ends abruptly in this land, like rule or an imitation spreading, westward cleansing land. Why are the magnolia blooms dripping from the trees? How romantic, the Cracker Barrel, looking out at the land. If home is speckled, and I swore that I would not refuse to go because I had no one to go with, to greater lands, cars and passing 18-wheelers and ugly flags, all wind, rounded beacon rising from golden and hollow land. Certainly, this country has more guns than people, and our libraries torn down wrong, big hands for more land. Why would you understand? You are this country now, its servant, its faithful pickaxe, its chained down to land. Owner, close that window and turn that down. You claim to build. I'm about to give you some religion, you land. Lord, I read somewhere that America has more museums than McDonald's and Starbucks combined. Story as land, mine, place as explosive. Hitchhiking in these times is impossible, they say. When was anything free in this land? I want to go a place where nothing reminds me of you. I search the corners and the empty lots, such wasteland for unknown, like the masters, like the shovels, the big city street and the dirt road, all bleeding land. I keep swiping my Metro card at the gas station, he says, waiting for a change or the right time to leave this land. I say, go now. I say, do not look back. Not in the rear view, Lagnajita, not in the dictionary, but in the cold, hard land. Thank you. I have two more. I just want to say I did grow up in Nashville, so I'm not like some shitty British person commenting on the state of America. Just FYI, 17 years of experience. Yeah, two-poem warning. This next one's called Where Did You Come From? How Did You Arrive? Notes from being homeless. 1. From war, walking class, thought of summer. 2. Or wind, hard, delayed, born into the desert. 3. I am moving from the place I was born. 4. There are no faces like yours in this country. 5. Great Depression, alien, extra cash for more land. 6. Conspiracies, ancestrally, city, recent, large, arrival. 7. Or a memory of time before him and you, children. 8. I arrived gawking, colonial memory, lucky internet. 9. I forgot that I did not want to go. Of music, computer. 10. In a heat wave, a tone, truer, couldn't hold. 11. I forgot offshore detention, never sacrificed. 12. They fly in a heat wave, proud. Am arriving now. 13. And lesser crises, how you won't give up stolen land. 14. Generational sin, sometimes you may never see. 15. How you refuse to go anywhere else. Snow. 16. On the mountains, backyard half pipe, America. 17. How the blinking lights, goodbye in the sky. 18. Or return, wanting something else to hold. Thank you everyone for joining. This last one's called What's the Shape of Your Body? Both of these are based on a book by Panu Kapil. Really, really great stuff if you check her work out. This is called What is the Shape of Your Body? When your eyes became two walls, when your hands became two countries, and my body murmured like grass. Sometimes in the spaces there is fear. Choose one. Meal ticket. I was watching the tires spin in front of me, so the shape is outlined. Everything is a chain or furniture that lives in small spaces like ours. Flux. Machines are moving out of control. Negative space within or unloved, constant, bigger than I actually am, or your feet would always hang off the bed and I could stand right up. July 16th, 12:40 p.m. Is there anything else you want to know? I ate the map with my hands, dots on ghosts, the line, an approximate, overweight, temporal vehicle, and they say, an individual is the smallest state, and you say, everything is a trash bag, and I say, okay, that is some magic, and we are lucky. Everyone I have ever loved, like gold was spit out of a supernova, shut the fuck up, you can create your own wealth, human being shaped, March 3:07 p.m. and how it is that you cannot touch the painting. Sometimes I wonder why I cannot go outside and say it, as if literal God exists to serve structures with infinite gravity or a country I could no longer tolerate. You think they should waste the smallest instant of infinite time on why some shit didn't work out? There are waterfalls in the world that are 200 feet tall and you can see Mars at night. What else did you want? Would you have held my fingers or your white god, spirit shaped? Okay. 1. I point to the next place and you drive. Thank you so much. So happy to be here. Can't wait to hear everyone else, but can't promise I'll be here for the whole thing.
No worries at all. Wow, everyone, you just heard the incredible words of Lagnajita Mukhopadhyay. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with us tonight. Everyone, you can find out more information about Lagnajita at lagnajitaM.com. And I highly recommend checking out Road RASA. It's absolutely banging. And thank you so much for being here, friend. I really appreciate you. Whew, brilliant, off to an amazing start. And it gives me great joy to introduce our next phenomenal writer. Our next phenomenal writer this evening is Steph Patterson, she, her. Steph Patterson is a writer from Delaware with a love of horror and dark fantasy. She is a chronically ill ghoul that proudly identifies as bi. When she's not conjuring strange tales, she devours books, tends to familiars, or connects with her coven. Her work has appeared in Scavenger's Literary Magazine, Suburban Witchcraft Magazine, and Gnashing Teeth Publishing. She lives with her family in their cozy home on the edge of the forest. You can find her on Instagram at Spooky S Patters, Spooky Spatters. I'm super privileged to call Steph a friend, and I'm really enamored by her voice and words. Steph sends phenomenal memes and is a champion of sharing other writers' work and amplifying voices on her Instagram, which I really admire and strive to do the same. So please join me in welcoming Steph Patterson.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so honored that you invited me here tonight. I made a video earlier and I was talking about how I haven't done a poetry reading since I was in high school. So I feel like this is my debut as an adult. And I'm so happy that we connected and that we're able to share our love of poetry together. It's so beautiful, and I really need it for my heart. It's like it's been part of my blood since I was a child. So I'm going to start off with an older poem of mine that I pulled out of my vault, which is, if you can see it, I have this binder full of writing from my teenage years. And a couple years ago, I was rifling through it and I found this one poem. And I ended up submitting it to Gnashing Teeth Publishing, and it was featured as the poem of the day back in 2023. So this poem is called The Space Between Us. Everything we see is dead. Stars, skin, hair. A smile takes light years to reach the retina. From you to me is a galaxy, an undulating aquarium of inhabited planets and Milky Ways. Black holes loom in corners of folded space. We unfold that space like a picnic blanket, smooth it cleanly over the embankment of the moon, and dine on the delicacies of what we deem to be alive. So that's the first one. And then my next one is a lighthearted magical list poem. And it was published in Scavengers, again, back in 2023. So that was a big year for me. And this is called Magical Happenings Acknowledged in the Future. And it is after Christopher Brian Murray. Nessie will be recognized as a protected species. She is still miffed about how people thought she was a smudge in the pictures. Spellbooks will replace burn books. Bloody Mary will start a podcast asking people to stop calling her through the mirror. It's all very exhausting. Fairies will picket and ask people to stop trampling their fairy rings, lest those people never be heard from again. Mermaids will join the call for climate change protection. People that throw trash in the ocean will be led to the sirens, sans earplugs. And dragons will travel to space to see what other treasures they can acquire beyond the Earth's barriers. All right, so my next two are my horror poems. They were featured in a magazine that no longer exists, unfortunately. It was called The Siren's Call, and these two were in their Halloween issue. The first one's called Quiet. You have never been here before. You feel a bit disoriented. The house looks ordinary, not foreboding. You are in the French countryside, remote and rustic, nestled in a field. You walk into the house. The people inside are familiar, yet you can't quite place their faces. There are no creaky floors or haunting voices calling in the halls, only a feeling of togetherness. You share a meal. At nightfall, company divides. Doors are shut and quiet blankets the rooms. You attempt to close your eyes, let go of tension. The thick silence is disturbed. You go to investigate a body laid out on the kitchen table, stripped of skin, glistening with muscles and fat. The killing must have happened elsewhere. With the rising nausea, you aren't quite sure if this was part of the meal you consumed earlier. Where did all the blood go? You aren't quite sure of anything except to stay quiet. My next one is called Rotting Rage. Poisoned words gather on the tip of her tongue, shooting roots down her throat, stealing her breath, hollowing out her veins, carving craving into her bone marrow, creeping up and pushing daisies out her eye sockets. This endless rush of rage enveloping her, awakening the sleeping urge to watch someone else's life ebbing out into her rotting fingertips. So it's about a very angry zombie girl. I just have a couple more. This one was published last year in the Suburban Witchcraft magazine in their issue 6. And this was written right around the time of the solar eclipse when that happened. So it's called Solar Eclipse Confessions. Tell the moon every terrible thing you ever did. The ancient celestial power will hold it close. Then, when the moon collides with the sun, your confessions will be eviscerated. Resist the urge to watch it all burn. It is not meant for human eyes. So these next couple ones have not been published. I've put them up on my Instagram, but that's the only place they've been so far. So the first one is very short. It's a monolith, one sentence poem. And it's about my experience with chronic illness. Chronic illness shapeshifts like a werewolf's curse. Flares howling through our bodies, exiting through the moon of our mouths. The next one is Cancer is a Nightmare. Sometimes I wonder if I stand in front of the mirror and say my own name 3 times. Will the ghost of who I was before appear and surge forward to undo my body's greatest betrayal? Peel back layers of my skin to tame the wild growth below, the growth that pushes up to the surface like thorns, entangling me in knives and potions. I will say my own name 3 times, wake up, and this will all be over. So this next one was written on June 14th, when this was my own form of protest when the No King protests were happening. This is no king. He grasps for a crown, crumbling with rot, festering with the wounds of a land that he tries to tame into submission. His hands are small, and the veins pulse with the blood of the children he tore from their mothers. Veins wrapping around his arms, the loose tendrils of families he uprooted. His heart has collapsed into ash and rot. The angry tears of those who he deems unworthy, showering on his upturned face. The droplets are acidic, burning his flesh. He pays no mind as his administration keeps rebuilding his face anew. Each time a tiny detail is off and he seems a little less human. He is not looking towards the people anyways. He never really does. Their faces morph into $signs to him. He crushes their upturned faces under the soles of his shoes, joyfully squelching through the ruins, sipping the blood of the broken bodies through the straw of capitalism, without even a glance at the lives he's ended. This is no king. This is a tyrant, and he will not reign. All right, so that's like my ragey protest poem. And then we're gonna pivot to, this is dedicated to my dearest friends, and it is called To My Coven. There's a sacred, wild magic thrumming in the souls of the women closest to me, holier than anything I've ever found behind the doors of a church. We pause for one another as the pull of life shifts, our pace, our energy, our way of being. There's so much power in the sound of her voice, and her, and her, and her. This coven of women surrounds me in a protective circle. There's no greater feeling than calling on those names and holding each other. We meet each other where we are. There is a softness here, but do not mistake it for weakness. We are making space for each other in a world that puts romantic love as the end of the story. My friends have been the soulmates I need over and over again. This is my final poem. It is called Women of Stardust and Soil. We start as stardust, and then soil we become. Underneath our feet, the bones sing of so many women before us. Their whispers form tendrils, winding up to tip into your ear. Their stories will not be forgotten, as the earth holds their proof of life. When their voices rose in anger and defiance, women labeled as witches, spinsters, other, lesser than, the control men forced upon us and continue to resurrect again and again, born of fear and carefully tilled hatred. The women of today, born of stardust, with the soil singing under our feet, we will not be quiet. Our voices will be a cacophony. Thank you so much. That is my last piece. And thank you again, Sarah, for organizing this and having everyone here. And I've just been so excited. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Steph. Everyone, you just heard the amazing words of Steph Patterson. I highly recommend following her on Instagram, Spooky S Patters. That was just really fantastic. Thank you also for doing your No King's Day poem. I remember reading that on the day of and just feeling so connected to everyone that was protesting in every way that they could. And so it was really great to hear you read that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, what a fantastic evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Oh, what a joy. I am very excited to introduce our next wonderful writer. Our next wonderful writer is Nicole Yurcaba. Nicole Yurcaba is a Ukrainian-American poet and essayist. Her reviews, poems, and essays have appeared in Atlanta Review, the Lindenwood Review, Whiskey Island, Raven Chronicles, Appalachian Heritage, North of Oxford, and many other online and print journals. Nicole is a poetry instructor at Southern New Hampshire University and a guest book reviewer for Sage Cigarettes, Tupelo Quarterly, Colorado Review, and the Southern Review of Books. I'm so thrilled to have Nicole reading here tonight. I've really admired her voice and writing for a long time, and I'm honored to be pressmates with her at Alien Buddha. And also as an aging goth, I am deeply appreciative of her perspective and the ability to blend culture and subculture with her incredible voice. Please join me in welcoming Nicole Yurcaba.
That is so kind, Sarah. Thank you. So I have 5 or 6 poems I'm going to share tonight, and many of them are rooted not only in American politics and American gender politics, but also Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian politics. And they're sort of my reflections about being a Ukrainian American woman and navigating a war in one homeland, the potential downfall of my other homeland, and then just being a woman in all of this. So I'm going to open with a poem called Every Day's a Good Day to Summon Your Ancestors. When your American lover leaves you for a Confederate belle, your grandmother calls you from her grave. Nika, you know what spells and hexes to cast. Avoid the ones to make him fall in love with you. They tend to backfire. And your heart's a step smoldering from fires set by men determined to destroy everything you are, and your trauma's the glittering axe hanging above the fireplace, carried by your father, hidden by your grandfather, unnamed by your great-grandfather, misunderstood by every man who claimed to love you. And here you are again, living dead girl, puffing your great-grandmother's hand-carved pipe, wearing your mother's kiptar and vishivanka, returning from your grandmother's call. Babcha, it's as though Mara's in the room, and you're crossing yourself 3 times, spitting for protection and muttering, ancestors, protect me. Ancestors, protect me. You who are a museum of Hutzul magic, calling snakes from the forests, moving thunderclouds from the skies, conjuring rain to the mountains, saving cattle from a drought, sending off every man to the highlands, eventually. When will you learn, O dark-eyed wonder, to tuck your powders and your poultices and your spells, your matonki and your rushniki into your wooden chest, and hide it beneath your bed? Keep it there, and don't show anyone. Leave it for the villagers to find on a cloudless day, long after your death, after they've buried you at the forest's dark center. So my next poem is called Because It Has Been a Long Couple of Months. And you are still reeling from the Lithuanian devil's betrayal, and now your father's death, combined with one homeland's betrayal of another, and your grief is as cold and hard as the iceberg which sunk the Titanic. And you're slipping into the queerness of yourself, of being too Ukrainian for your own damned good. Or at least that's how your father phrased it, as he praised your high Lemko cheeks and the Hutzul way you rolled your R's. And yet he wondered why no American man would ever want you, as you debated politics in 3 languages, wrote poetry in 4, split firewood using an 8-pound maul, and rode horses in that Carpathian manner that shocked photographers and outsiders a century ago. Now you sip tea mailed from the old country and watch America slip and slide headfirst into fascism. And thank the old gods your father is dead, though today marks 5 weeks since his death, and the Lithuanian devil texts you irate, while in Vilnius, the ballet wouldn't perform the Nutcracker. They were protesting Russia, he exclaims, and you remember his love of Turgenev, Lermontov, Dostoevsky, Tchaikovsky, his unsympathetic messages. I'm so sorry it's happening. When you message that your sister's city was bombed again, again, again. History keeps repeating, and you wonder when it will ever stop. The MAGA cultists will knock on your door, demand your valuables, tell you you're late for the train that will take you to the next town. And as you leave your house, handcuffed, you'll see every American lover and the Lithuanian devil clapping their hands. Because strange girls like you, my love, well, what can we do with the monsters that they are? This is called He Who Holds the Sky for You. Saturday, and your father's knocking 3 times on the front door's frame, and you, who are no stranger to his Carpathian mountain ways, know it means he's leaving on a new adventure. You cannot accompany him. He's dressed for the occasion. His Lviv Vyshyvanka, blue and yellow embroidery on black linen, cargo pocket khakis, and his needing-shined black shoes. And he's muttering something about how your mother forgot to iron his pants. And you hear him say, "My, isn't that sunset beautiful?" And then, "Nika, I told you I wouldn't live to see the war in our homeland end." And you want to run into the sunset too, because what's the point of staying here? Every man who ever loved you is dead, and every man who ever used and loved you not is alive, well, and fucking other women. And your homeland waves furiously at the world amid the missiles slamming it and security guarantees America's latest king refuses to honor. And perhaps you should be thankful you have this moment to watch your father clasp the evening sun in his wrinkled hands and turn it clockwise, counterclockwise, and laugh, and laugh, and laugh. After all, your father never feared anything, not even death. And rather than recoil from the sun's burn, he says, "Go to sleep, Nika. Do as I say. You and I, we have many more adventures to come. You'll see." So I recently spent 11 days on Andros Island in Greece as part of the Aegean Art Circle writing workshop and residency. And so the next 3 poems that I'm going to read, and these are my last 3, are poems that I crafted while I was on the island. And so this next poem is called "To Wait for the Weather from the Sea." A frigid morning swim, beaten smooth pebbles, chase colliding waves, dancing, daring clean shallows, eager and ephemeral fish flitting. Go deeper. Hold the blue, indigo water in your hands. Jostle with them, knowing you could drift and land. Miles from your intentions, make the sea your cradle. Nika, do you remember how I rocked you? Open your hand and clasp the white caps. Place your palm against a dolphin's skin. Quiet, like every man you ever loved, it will leave, recoiling from your intensity. Soon you will tire, powerless, too afraid, too weary, unmoved, unmotivated to return to shore, violated by swimmers' footprints. What does the sea reveal? X-rays made using pressure and constant motion. You who cannot leave the Rusalka's grasp. A snake is lurking, waiting on the sea-worn rocks. This next poem, I'm a fan of lengthy titles. So this next poem is called "Stab Her Love Against the Wall with the Pig Iron on Your Hip," aka Orpheus and Eurydice ride a Harley-Davidson motorcycle through Orange, Virginia. He will not admit he is worried about her traveling alone on her upcoming trip to Greece. Instead, he throttles the bike and remembers their college after-class afternoons, waiting for her British literature class to end, an extra helmet waiting outside on the bike. And they would ride, 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 ride. Back roads, winding, past fields, two-lane highways, interstates, returning to campus, late, sore, giddy, tired, anxious. The dining hall closed, papers needing written, exams looming. He will not admit she is beautiful, even more so than when they met in college. So he waves at a guy driving a pickup truck as they pass, and she loosens her embrace, relaxes in the seat, taps his shoulder, points to a 1970s lime green Ford truck. And later in Gordonsville at Ice House on Main Street, they sip unsweetened tea, discuss Metallica's Nothing Else Matters, Mengele's escape to Argentina, why they both hate country music. He will point to 2 Ukrainian flags hanging from the house across the street. You ever see that flag before? And she will shake her head, say, I've never seen it, ever. Grin, and he will see his fears reflected in her dark eyes. Her return, Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Transcarpathia. And he watches May's slow wind flutter the flag and admits, I always thought your flag had 3 colors, not 2. So my last poem is a tribute to my father and a tribute to the Ukrainian way. We never forget our ancestors, but I also wrote it while I was in Greece and was receiving news from friends and family about the many attacks that were ongoing at the time. And this is called Disguised as Your Father, the Old Gods Summon You to Ask You for a Favor. A flash of magic, a dash of flame, 1 sprinkle of salt, a clipping of your lover's hair. 2 swallows carry myths, songs, hexes, prayers, spells, talismans, lining your bones, embroideries, coffin. No matter where you travel, the old gods will find you, demand you sit at your ancestors' table, to drink to your mother's health, your professional success, the hope of a good marriage, strong children. And this you must see, your father, drawing the waves from the mighty Dnipro shores, curling the mountain mist around his crooked fingers, shielding villages from missiles. The storm he conjures sings, ancestors protect us, ancestors protect us. And what magic and what wonder and what danger it is to sit at his right hand, to light the 1,000 candles of the 1,000 ancestors who sat here before you, drinking divination and prayer, strength and soul from the cups of their wraths, their judgments, and their destructions. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure to be with you. It's kind of cool how it got dark too as I'm reading. That was the old gods being with me. Thank you, Sarah, for putting this together.
Thank you so much, Nicole. That timing was truly incredible. Those old gods getting their voice in always. I love to see that. That was amazing.
They have impeccable timing.
Always, always. Wow, that was absolutely brilliant. Everyone, you just heard the incredible words of Nicole Yurcaba. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. That was really beautiful and really powerful, and I really appreciate you. Oh, wow, awesome. Y'all, this night is just amazing, and I'm really grateful. And I'm also super excited to introduce our next fantastic writer. Our next fantastic writer is Kat Ingrid Leeches. Kat Ingrid Leeches is a writer, editor, and teacher from Galveston, Texas. Their work has been published in Mid-American Review, Adroit, Passages North, The Offling, and elsewhere. Their debut collection, I Wander the Earth, Hungry for Seamen, is forthcoming from Carrion Bloom Books. It's really such an honor to be hosting Kat tonight, another writer whose work I've really admired for a long time. I met Kat back in the Twitter poetry days and was instantly obsessed with their ability to curate the gorgeous and grotesque. So please, everyone, join me in welcoming Kat Ingrid Leeches.
Hi, y'all. I made a weird face because my cat just jumped off the table and cleared off 3 jars and broke them. So hence that was the face it was making. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read some fragments from some chapbooks that were all about the plague, and they just never really went anywhere. So I smashed them into one piece for tonight, and I hope that you like them. And if you don't, you can sue me. I don't know. But yeah, also Roll Tide. So here we go. Before the plague, I was nothing but a stack of meat and a stick. I never thought about what was glorious to God. A child of the one faith smeared his fingers on my unbothered rims, and I took the hardest path in this life, initiated by a sharp intake of air into my lungs, and everyone in the city felt a little woozy at once. It was his disused hand that cried out first, over what we all felt like was lost but could not name. The body died later in the night, the boy the next day, and I'm still here, flowered in the pageantry of his last rites. Next fragment. All of my favorite fairy tales start with someone's head falling off and lips sprouting elsewhere. Are you trapped to death by your own folds? I feel myself spilling over and over and over and over and over and over, and my nipples are like cones and touch my thighs. Yesterday at work, a dog bit my breast. This is the goal of translation. After the dog bit my breast, she became pregnant but never gave birth. Next fragment. Do you remember your solemn oath you made before your God? When the groom is about to come, it is very important to act repulsed. This is what we are taught at Camp Mystic, a church camp in West Texas. This is the specific moment in his life that will bring him closer to God. Next fragment. I refuse to make love during the day. I refuse to make love with my eyes during the day. I refuse to make love. I refuse to make love. I refuse to make love. At night, I can shift into other realities. In each reality, I meet a saint, even though I'm no longer Catholic. If I choose, I can make love to them with my eyes. I rarely do now that I'm older. The child once died in my garden, and I was in charge of her. The sadness has been instilled in me ever since. She plucked the wrong kind of flower. There was an ache in the back of her skull. I stopped teaching. I gave up smoking as a penance. I have never been married, but I carry myself like a widow. I have never been married because of pride and impiety. It is insufficient now to feel so strong a love that doesn't have anywhere to go. So I write letters to you. I tell you about my hemorrhoids and the way they hold my body, the way I pierce the vegetal veins near my anus and playing cards fall out. I put them beneath my pillow. I tell you about the shifting nature of the house, the garden, the forest, and my uncle. I tell you about how nearly everyone we know is dead, and somehow we're still breathing, and it's the very same air. Can you believe it? You shouldn't. Symptoms. Fevers, rectum itching, swelling. It is not uncommon for victims to mistake the early symptoms of the plague for hookworms. Déjà vu, frequent urination, Do you remember how the crystals in your piss look like snowflakes? It had probably been years since we had both seen snow, but that's what we had said in tandem. Swollen breasts, one will be warmer than the other. Sweating, hallucinations. If you are reading this, you are likely dead, no? An invisible pervert standing over my shoulders. What good are you if you won't tell me what you saw? What crawled on your skin? Treatment. No known cure or prevention. Confession. This is what we wanted to happen, what my uncle had wanted. I don't know if my sister ever knew that this was going to happen. She knew, she knew, she knew, she knew, she knew, she knew. Superstition. It is advised to keep a drop of blood underneath your human tongue. Don't you dare swallow. Next fragment. I bite my lover's ulcerous leg. I pet him with the severed hand, the hand that kills me, and its palm sprouts a pair of lips that tenderly kiss his dirt-covered feet, and I shudder from ecstasy or envy, I do not know which. A dog or another type of animal comes to us. It has been many years since we've seen an animal, and he leaves his skin on the ground. We caress his bare form, I lick his bare paws, stroke his bare neck. The creature hums, and now I am sure it is a wolf or a bear, with a voice like redacted. I lie down on his discarded skin, and it wraps around me. I cannot breathe. I cannot take it off. I am no longer human. I do not yet know what I am, but I will consume us all. I never see this lover again. Next fragment. Were the spirits quieted by the plague, or could we just not hear them anymore? Do you remember the first time we made love? My nose swiveled to and fro. I smelled shit clinging to someone's rectum. You do not nourish your bowels enough. I condemn you in this way, and you know why. I condemn you, I condemn you, I condemn you, I condemn you in this way. I condemn you in this way, and you know why, and you know why, and you know why, and you know why. I condemn you, and you know why. The only way to get rid of an infestation is to give in to it. Rats like desire run out of your body, and I flick them away with my tongue. They have never been denied access to you, and I'm envious. The solution is to stuff yourself with so much longing that you are no longer human. Only then will they all flee from your body, some as slender as a thumbnail. You will probably be dead. Next fragment. I will tell you the truth. In another life, I am a man who has very little to say. The salt grass is tall, the length of my shoulder. I unearth some noble woman and tell her to eat the grass. And she does, and then flies away. But she tells the redacted of my location, and he kills me because he is terrified of my strange erection that looks like a conch shell. In any event, the afterlife is strangely quiet while you wait. I am a small mammal in the next, and then a bug. I put metal in my mouth. I am my brother's son. I am my brother. At night, I think about what happens to a god when their god dies. My fingers are soured with lichen. The pain unnerves me. I wasn't born a dog, but I will die like one. A final graveyard swollen, breathing in my guts. My belly drags along the ground. Some earth I inhabit, any kind of earth. No one is left to help me wash it. The final fragment. In another life, I am too poor and I don't have a job. I still live at home. There are too many accidents outside the house for me to leave. My nose is filled with my father's semen. My mother stores it there. She's not ready to have another baby, yet she still has hope in me that one day I'll make something of myself. Every day my parents go to work, and every day I fill out job applications and wait for the accidents to occur. I move the bodies to the side of the road. I organize them in neat stacks. I do not have to do this, but it is nice of me. In the walls of my house lives my father's underage mistress. He does not know that I know about her. When my parents go to work, I help her stretch her legs. Some days I think she is in love with me and not my father. Other days I think she does not like me. At night, she gives birth and scratches her devotions into the wall. I take the babies and add them to the stack of bodies on the side of the road. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, so much for inviting me to read at this. You are all very lovely. And yeah, it's been such a pleasure to hear everybody read before me. And yeah.
Oh, Kat, thank you so much. God, that was just incredible. I really, really appreciate your time and energy reading tonight. Ooh, you got me sweating. Oh, I love it. That's absolutely fantastic. Everyone, you heard the incredible words of Kat Ingrid Leeches. If you're able, please consider picking up I Wander the Earth, Hungry for Seamen from Carrie and Bloom Books. Wow, what an absolutely brilliant evening. I am so thrilled and also a little bit sad because it's our last reader of the evening, but so thrilled to introduce Samuel Wright Fairbanks. Sam Wright Fairbanks was born in a bog and raised on the internet. They write poetry in parks and under leaky ceilings in Brooklyn, New York. Manhole for the New Millennium is now available from Discount Guillotine. Shout out to Discount Guillotine for publishing really remarkable work and bringing some brilliant folks into my life. I'm super honored to have been a part of the Chicago leg of the Manhole for the New Millennium book tour, where I got to experience Sam's writing in person. So I'm really grateful that they're here tonight. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Samuel Wright Fairbanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam. I'm stoked to be here tonight, following all of your amazing readings. It's really been an exceptional couple of months as I've traveled around a bit, reading from the book and getting to hear poets who I may never have heard had I just stuck around in Brooklyn. And so this is sort of, I'm really glad to be doing something that is sort of non-local too. Anyway, I got four for you tonight. I'm going to start with anyone can make a Faraday cage. Habit is the water through fingers, a process. A stack of colanders only complicates loss. I can cook, but I don't want to because some muck is blinking under violet suns 5 billion years from now. Wow. Next up on ADHD radio, 17 seconds of every song you've ever heard at once and shifting pitch to squealing white relation, white chicken, white magnolia. What's love without a pinch or a wince? What's space but a meddling icebox? Venus coughs romantic subterfuge. The Martian economy is libidinal, and Neptune laughs in sliding hands, but Earth's a Taurus bored with ideas. Everything is new and worse and magic or obliterated in the night to fund innocuous disruption for an industry that doesn't need it. Pay more money than I've ever seen to trip along the surfaces of every face of every god and stay a venture capitalist. What's wrong? Anger, because space is no one's and money is electric debt. Put it in the chicken coop and it won't ring. Wrap it up in tinfoil and it won't ring. Stop making it a delicate mystery. Stop making it a morbid curse. What's wrong? A dream about a book, about a pulsar that is not a book and also not a pulsar hidden in a mall that's not a mall and also not a level map from Doom 2 Painted Landlord Special. Enough. The unconscious isn't teal. I mean real. I mean every month is cruel. Enough mistaking words for things and things for words and words for words and things for things. Language is the swarm of spotted lantern flies I meet for Sunday fasting in the basement of the unformed body of the future when I cannot cook because my money's in the microwave. Thanks. So this next one, I don't think I've actually read from or read in person to anyone, so it's a little special treat for y'all. But I was thinking about it today. I'm not sure why. I wrote it about a brief years-long situationship I had with a much older man when I was in college. It's called Hello, Nurse. I try not to negotiate with the machine I intentionally destroy. And the remainder is a Golden Girls blacklight poster on a Cleveland bus passing over the nurse's head. His business is heavy steel cocks. His mouth is a blue mushroom on an abandoned lunchbox. The wings of a mother tongue touch the snow on a parking lot shaped like a great lake, where I am sneaking muddy weeks from 19 years under dandelion ice, in love with eerie winds and the gals from the menthol TV in his smoking room of a life, where karma is a system of debits and credits. His auto-generated voice in my throat. Nurse, you hate your patients. I just charge blood in Chagrin Falls for a CAT scan and the experience of being billed. All right. Next up for you, got a Sasquatch at the Vatican. Erotics of searching delight in the taste of barrel bottoms. Halogen days with a long tongue and no footing. Venetian blues, Venusian shadows, and gunmetal cum shots. Folks, it seems I am recovering from the apparatus of wanting a man with hands as large as sedans to grab my gut and shot put me into the gaping sea. I am nursing at the station rehab motel for the self-dangerous, hooking into melatonin and knitting Penrose tiles, kissing free-range ground fowl, riffing prophecies from stewing pots. I see. In 2028, The Atlantic will write that late capitalism incentivizes thruples. Trink, triple income, no kids will be Merriam-Webster's word of the year. But don't get any flat ideas. Most things aren't paradigm shifts. Language is an organ, and culture is euthanasia roller coaster loops. So dance as you please on the engineer and the queer steel of this municipal dream. Be a glossary of walking, snapshot mountains ruled by semi-structured cut-time vector space in history, passing cars or shorelines of the idiot hours, sozzled and supine on the world's wet skin, night sharing tepid takes to the moonless highway, chin deep in the Jersey Ocean clouds. The stomach's not so much a knot. The hand can't help but hold itself. Forget the passcode, and it's like I've never been. Thought form bricolage identity barking up the wrong dick tree. See, I stepped in some gender fluid on the way here, and I fear I tracked it in. Do not let them overlook our codes. I'm allergic to the early evening and never where I think. My face is different places than it ought to be. Sasquatch at the Vatican, a maladaptive daydream. And let's see. All right, last one for you. This one. So the last section, or second to last section of the book, I wrote on a road trip that I took by myself in spring of 2023 from New York to Palm Springs. The vacation was the road trip, and then I worked once I got to California. But this one was inspired, I guess, by a few different places. I want to say Arizona, but there's a little Colorado and a little New York and a little bit of everything getting scrambled together in the end. It's called That's the Joke. Orange skin makes plates of itself, an open place of open nothing. Orange soil makes deserts of the self, the empty plain of empty skyway. Thus, the privilege of place colludes with reptile tongues and succulence and orange violence and immoral oil and motor complications of a souped-up dune buggy buried under pyramids of energy drink six-packs. Are the mineral wholesale hangers bullet holes burnt orange or the outside? Is Earth turned inside out and polished for the archive? Is Earth a souvenir of RV parks? Quartzsite, Arizona is a dusty shelf of films about itself. Crater is the gaudy joy of Meteor, impact wind forever licking infotainment theaters. Joy is glittering holes in the surface of things. The lie of erosion makes form of thrusting upwards in the garden of the gods, where honorary letters of a plaque wink down, not quite lascivious, and lap me up with metal eyelashes, till I'm feeling old among the newest crop of rockheads. You'll never see two continents kiss, but much, much later, 2 million men tongue the breeze down the street where Van Leeuwen is. That's the joke. It's every street. And French means too many egg yolks in your ice cream. The managers cannot kiss. The managers are melting. Didn't used to have a fire season. Now every parlor burns on different clocks. I love a fear that tells you what it is, says a pansy ice cream man's wind-locked lips. And by the way, queering queer is not a cancellation, but a rotation in the complex plane. Let the root of negative queer equal Q for the fuck of it. Everything is everything. So rank your pleasures, sing along with your appliances, pronounce macabre like macrame, practice stay thither looks, be the problem you want to see on reality TV, embrace surveillance and experiment with exhibitionism, and silently contend with climate change on Zoom with all your coworkers. If something comes up to you bearing water on its head, it might be me. The container is the hole that glitters, and the water is a carton of Acadian Marlboros kissing out the sun. Another orange day. Thanks, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much, Sam. Everyone, you just heard the amazing words of Samuel Wright Fairbanks. Wow, y'all, what an absolutely fantastic evening. I am so inspired and feel so great, and I really appreciate your time and energy. Again, amazing audience, whether you were able to join us live or you're watching this afterwards on YouTube. Thank you for being here. And if you loved what you heard, because I know you did, please consider reaching out to these amazing writers, support them by purchasing their books, going to their workshops, going to live readings. Substacks are really a great way to get involved a little bit for free. I'm going to be posting everyone's info on how to buy books in the description of this video. What a wonderful evening. I really appreciate y'all. I would like to end tonight with just this really tiny excerpt from a really brilliant poet and previous words Friends reader Jason B. Crawford. This is an excerpt from their poem Untitled, 1975 to 86. This is from poets.org. And here we are again in June, with all the summer's bees and root beer floats and boys screaming laughter into the jaws of a sprinkler head. And I too am so joyful here. I have forgotten that January ever existed. Thank you so much, everyone. I am Sara Matson, and I will see you in the fall. Thank you very much.